Now we're going to look at Excel formulas and how to use them. So I'm going to start off with a few numbers here. So I have 1 and 3, and I'm actually going to go ahead and put in something like a header column, and this is going to be for totals. Now you can start a formula off by hitting the equal sign, and then I want to add these, so I can do two things. I can do sum, and I'll choose this number, comma, and that number. I'll close my parenthesis and tab out so I get the 4 here. If I delete that, I can also do equals, again starting a formula. I can do 1 plus 3 and tab out. Now if I have something like this where it's a lot more and I want to get the total of all of these, I can do this, and instead of clicking each one and doing something like this, which is useful just for maybe 2, I don't want to do it with the big long string of numbers. So instead, that's where sum comes in useful, and you can just highlight all of these and you get the sum of those. And there's a few other scenarios that might be more complex, and for those you can click the formulas tab and the formulas will be up here. And so for example, I can click on math and trigonometry, and here's a lot of the useful formulas. And for example, let's say I've got 1, 2, got -4 and -3. So let's sum these, and I'll just highlight those and tab out. So I get this error here telling me I've got a circular reference, and basically that means I've highlighted all the cells I want to sum, and then I went into the formula cell, which I'm trying to sum the formula, and that's not really going to work. So I'll just double click into here to show my formula, and I'll change this to a 4, and that'll fix that issue, and now I got my sum. And earlier I showed my formula. I double clicked into here to show the formula. You can do a single click into your cell, and you can also edit up here at the top if you want to do that. Now let's say I want to just show the absolute value here of this sum. I can go and look and see what some of the formulas are, and as I go through these, they show hints, and right here I've got absolute value. This is the one I'd want to use. Returns the absolute value of a number. But all these others will show hints as well so that you can see what exactly they are. So I know ABS is what I want, and it just takes one parameter. It takes the number that I'm going to look at the absolute value on. So I see my formula up here at the top. I'll just go ahead and click right before sum, and I'm going to put that into parentheses because this is the single number that I want the absolute value for. I'll tab out, and now I've got the absolute value of 4. So that is a simple scenario. And for this sum here, there's also the auto sum is right there. You can just click that and highlight these, and then click auto sum, and it's going to sum the value right there. Let's look at another kind of example. So I'm going to go ahead and clear out these cells. Let's say I've got first, well actually let's do something a little different. I'm going to go with email, and then let's say I've got a few emails here. I've got Hotmail. Let's see, I've got Microsoft, and let's do another Gmail, test3@gmail. I'm going to go ahead and double click on here to provide the width that we can see everything. And let's say I want to find just Gmail emails. So any email that has a Gmail value, I'm going to go ahead and click equals to start a formula. I will do find. Now find is saying what text value are you looking for, and I am looking for Gmail. I'm actually going to put this in quotes because it is text. Within what text? This is going to be what I'm looking for. I'm looking in this cell for the text value, and I'll close it off. You can see I get a 6. This is the position that Gmail starts. So it's starting, the G is the 6th character in this string. And if I drag these on down, I get reference errors right here for the ones that don't have it, and then for the ones that do, I get a number, so that way I can see what's going on with these. And then I can highlight these and go to my conditional formatting, highlight cells greater than 0. And it's just going to highlight the ones with values. This way I can quickly see which ones have the value I'm looking for. Let's look at another scenario. Let's say I've got name. And in name I've got John Doe. I've got Steve Jackson. And I've got Mike Williams. And I'll go ahead and double click, and that way we can see everything. I want to split these so that I've got first name and last name. Let's look at how that might work. So I'm going to say here another equals, and I'm going to do a left. Actually, before I do that, I want to create some metadata for length, and then I'm going to just do len on this. You can see here I just tabbed right out. I didn't even worry about this closing parentheses. Excel will go ahead and fill that in automatically. And I'll drag this down so I have length. I'm going to need these numbers in my formula, so that's why I'm adding them here. And then I'm going to do space. So here I did length, and then I'm going to do equals, find what text am I wanting. I'm wanting to find a space. I'm wanting to find a space within text, this text. And I'll just tab out again. Excel gave me that parentheses. And I'll just call this space position. So that's the position of my space. And I'll drag that down. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and highlight these in gray since it's metadata. It's not some of the main data. Let me see. This is fine so that it's de-emphasized. Now we're going to go ahead and start splitting these. I'll do equals left. Now it's saying what text. I want to work on this text and number of characters. I want to go up to the space. So actually I want to go right before the space. So the space is 5. My n is actually 4, position 4. So I'll say this minus 1. So that's the space minus 1 gives me my n, and I get John. And if I drag that down, I get the first name of all my entries here. Now let's work on last name. So you might guess what this is going to be. We're going to do right, and we're also going to do text again. So this is the text that we want. And what are the number of characters? Well, the number of characters are our length. And we don't type in the 8 there. We actually click on the cell. So this is, I can't click because my formula is actually stretching out into the cell that I want. So this is cell G and row 2. So I'll just click G2, and then I want to subtract the space position, which is right here, this 5, and I'll tab out. And you can see I get Doe. Now I'm going to click the bottom here and just drag these down, and I've got all of my last names. So everything is split now. And let's say that I want these to be capitalized, because you can see they came in as not capitalized. So these may have been imported, and they were imported like this and they weren't capitalized. So what if I want to capitalize this? There's another function I can use called proper. And I'm going to put a parentheses around our left function so that everything inside of there is going to be manipulated by this proper function. I'll tab out. You can see here it wants us to add our parentheses. So it's this time it's because the formula is getting a little more complex. Do you want to accept the correction? You can see it's got the ending parenthesis over here. I'll say yes. And it added John. It capitalized the J on John. And if I drag that down, All the others are the same way. And then you can go into the last, which we'll go ahead and do that real quick, proper. I'll go ahead and add this closing parentheses because we know it's going to give us an error if I don't, because our formula is getting a little more complex here. And then I'll drag down, whoops, cancel. Need my crosshair, drag down, and those are all capitalized as well. And if we go back to formulas, so we have all of this up here, this information for different kinds of formulas. We'll go into recently used. You can see our recently used formulas are in there, which is really useful. So just a few different things you can do for manipulating text with formulas, and also to make use of the hints that Excel provides to you in formulas, and you get to know a lot of these formulas better with those hints.